Welcome to the Chris Hanna Show.
All right, everyone, welcome to the Chris Hanna Show. I am thrilled to have on the show today Letty Benavides, a life and business coach who has spent the last 4 years mastering the art of building a personal brand and teaching others to do the same. Letty is a content creator. She's a writer. She's very passionate about writing. I know that. She's a speaker, a community builder, which is definitely going to come out in our conversation today, and a thought leader, all without, and I love this, ever intending to become any of those things. Mm-hmm. But she's fallen in love with it. Recently, Letty has launched her first newsletter, Nurture the Seed, and this year she's planning on developing an online course to continue to pay forward the personal development concepts that have changed her life. After hiring a high-performance coach who helped her dream bigger, Letty has taken one step at a time towards rediscovering herself, doing the inner work, and diving into her purpose. She's excited to be here today to share her story, which might help nudge others along towards growing daily so they can live their best and most fulfilled lives. So without further ado, let's welcome Letty to the show. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you here, Letty. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Hey, Chris. Hey, everyone. I'm so happy to have the invitation to just come and have a great conversation, honestly, and just learn from one another.
I think that is so important in today's world, right? Is to continue just to learn from one another. I want to start by talking about how we became kind of connected with one another. And it was really about, in my experience, it's just like following each other and starting to support each other on social media. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get into a bit of the kind of the origin story and what led you to where you are here today and how important that is.
Yeah, honestly, it did. It just became, I'm not sure how, I can't remember exactly how I ran across your content or if you ran across mine, but I've had a huge interest, in just connecting with people online that are pouring their hearts into just putting out such great value and just trying to make an impact. Some people are doing that in the professional space. Some people are doing that in the personal space or spiritual space. And a lot of people are spending tons of time. And I noticed that because I started the journey of wanting to spend time creating content, right? And I think that's where it comes from. It's like, at first, I can't even tell you how long it would take me just to create one post, to choose the image that I felt was right, to put the words to that image and then edit and re-edit, because when you're first starting, you just really overthink things.
There's a bit of analysis paralysis somewhat, right?
Yeah. And so it takes you a lot longer and it means you really care because you really want to put something out there that you feel is great. And so that's awesome. But at the same time, it takes a lot of your time and effort. And so I knew that. And so when I started on the journey of doing that, I started running across other people that were doing the same as I was looking at social media and the space that I was mostly on Instagram as a place where I could scroll with a purpose. I could scroll and find that inspiration I needed, something that was going to motivate me or teach me something that was going to help me, maybe a mindset shift or some business tactic or something, anything that would help me learn and grow in the space I was going into little by little. And so I was seeing how much time it took for me, and I knew that other people were also doing the same. And so I just wanted to support them. I wanted to like and comment just to let them feel seen and let them know that they made an impact in my moment or my day. And that's how it all started. I probably just ran across something of yours and thought, oh, this guy's great. I want to just support him. And so that's how it began.
It's kind of cool when you said the phrase, I guess, scroll with a purpose.
Yeah.
Can you dive into a little bit more of that? Like, what does that mean for you? And how'd you come up with that? Or where'd you hear that from? Like that I think that's really powerful to hear that message.
Yeah. I mean, it's the way I describe what I do and how I share the power that's on social media for people that are wanting to grow in different aspects of their life that kind of sometimes discount the power that there is on social. Like, it's not just fluff. It's not just puppy videos and fun stuff. Like, I get caught up in all of that. I love it. It's fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, when you have a deep need, like I had, to discover so much of what was out there that I didn't even know existed yet. But like, when you get a little taste of it and you realize there's stuff out there that I don't know that can really change my life, or things I've discovered that are changing my life, what else is out there? You get really curious. Then you can begin to scroll, looking out for that stuff. You can begin to seek it. And the more you do that and connect with the right content and support the right content, the more the algorithm is going to throw more of that your way. And so you really begin to shape your own experience online by what you do. And so you can scroll with the purpose of uh, getting what you need for the moment for the day. Like for me, I needed everything. And B, like showing the algorithm what it is that you like and need so that it can provide more options out there, and you get to discover new people that are going to help you to basically accomplish what you're trying to accomplish and learn. And so I think there's so much scrolling with the purpose that people can do, and I think it shouldn't be discounted.
Well, I think it's an interesting thing because I've had so many people throughout my career or in my circle who have talked about how much they hate social media, that there's nothing valuable on there. But I'm like, maybe they hate it. I guess as you're saying, it makes me think like they hate it because they aren't scrolling with the purpose. They aren't
Right,
maybe interacting with content. So therefore the
right.
algorithm has no idea what to push them because they've actually shown that they don't really, I don't know, interact with anything. Am I wrong on that?
Possibly. And another huge aspect of the scrolling with the purpose for me was discovering like who caught my attention out there, what were they doing, and getting curious about why they were doing it. And because I had such a need, like I mentioned before, for so many different things as I was growing and wanting to shift into a new career and just expand all sorts of things, I was wanting to connect with people that were doing the same. And I didn't really necessarily have people in my regular life, that were on a journey similar to mine. So I started seeking out those people. And so scrolling with the purpose really began with like, who can I connect with that doesn't just need support because they're creating content, but really needs to connect with other people that are growing as well and also out there trying to figure it out and trying to understand how to put out good content and what's the purpose in it all and all this jazz, right? And so we could support one another by getting to know one another. And so seeking out those people also became something that I did every day.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you this, and hopefully no one steals this when they listen to this idea. Scrolling with a Purpose sounds like a great title for a book one day for you.
Yeah. I like it. I share it and people are like, oh wow, I've never thought about it that way. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to coin a phrase or trademark anything specific, but I do like sharing it with people because I feel like the phrasing of it just kind of opens their eyes a little bit and
Yeah.
hopefully they get curious enough to really try it and not just in one ear out the other. So
So let's talk about this journey that you've kind of started to hint at, right? So you're saying that you were needing some change. You started to try and scroll with a purpose. Take me through what's kind of been the journey. What's the origin story of kind of what's led you to what you're trying to build out and do now?
yeah, so I've always been a hardworking person, very positive in nature, optimistic. If I put my mind to something, I pretty much can do it. But I kind of felt like I was at the top of that. Like I didn't understand or feel like I could go any further. I felt like I was doing everything that I could do to be this person that I wanted to be. But at a certain, stage, I felt really stuck because I wanted to make changes that I didn't know how to make. And I ran across some personal development videos and personalities that really caught my attention. And I got really curious because it sparked a bit of hope, like just something different I hadn't run across. And so I kind of leaned into it. And that's where I got the opportunity to work with a coach and I invested in myself. I feel like for the first time ever as a mom of three, and really in a larger way than I look back and I'm just like, wow. I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot. I had to break it up into 12 monthly payments for like 12 weeks of coaching, but I just believed so much in what I had seen before that it might be the answer and might just shift my world to where I wanted it to be. And it really is where my journey began, is working one-on-one with a coach and learning all about personal development, starting to apply that, having the accountability, having someone that was watching my journey, cheering me on, but also very aware of my honest struggles and was there to support me. And that's where it all began. And from that was where the idea came to pay that forward.
So what kind of, coach, or was it a career change you were trying to do, or was it like some sort of mindset shift? Like what was what was trying to like, what were you doing at the time? How long ago was this that you're trying to make this shift and this change? And that
So
prompted you to really invest, I guess, in yourself too.
yeah, well, 4 years ago, actually, almost exactly 4 years ago, I was at a place where my kids were finally grown up enough to where I didn't have to worry about taking anyone anywhere. Like my schedule just kind of opened up. And I went from having to work specific jobs and shifts to like this openness of like, I could be whatever I want to be. I could do whatever I want to do at this stage. So what is it that I want to do? And honestly, at that point, I wasn't sure. And so, and also when it came to finances, I really wanted to be more comfortable and have more freedom. And I wasn't sure how to really attain all of that as well because work is just so limiting. You can only do so much with it in a job, which is what I had had since I was 14, right? And so all I've ever done is work for someone else. So I just wanted to find out if there was a way that I could do something different to change our financial future and our family. Like, what could I do with my gifts, with my talents, with my drive? You know, what could I discover? And so that's where I began working with a coach and working towards figuring all that out.
So you work with a coach, you're going through weekly coaching sessions, there's some accountability, you're doing this over 12 weeks, then what happens?
Yeah, so pretty much I had been diving into a little bit of personal development stuff right before, and I had been seeking out like what is really a great thing to jump into, like something new, fresh, challenging. And I had run across the idea of copywriting. And I thought, well, I never, ever, ever thought to be a writer, but this seems like something that isn't going to go away. It seems like something that people are always going to need. And so I just made a decision based on the fact that I love to type, which is going to sound weird and crazy, but I had this fascination with typing growing up. I took 3 years of typing in high school. I just loved it. And I came to a point in my life where I wasn't using typing a lot. And I thought, if I could type from home doing something and I could make better money, like what would I do? And I tried transcribing first, and I didn't like that. Before I started working with my coach, I had tried a little bit of transcribing, and I was like, where are the opportunities? Like, how can I find this awesome opportunity that I could just do something I just naturally love to do? And so that's kind of like where I was at in that regard. And then when I heard about the copywriting, I thought, ooh, like I could use typing and challenge myself to learn this skill that is so needed and pays really, really well. And so that's the decision I made pretty early on with my coach. And I just dove into that. And that's where it started, was freelancing.
So freelancing is a tough gig. Obviously, it's a gig in itself too. Yes. But like, freelancing, what kind of lessons did you learn as you're trying to start off as a freelancer? Because I think that's important for a lot of people who might be hearing this and thinking like they maybe want to have a shift. They want to maybe, have a bit more control and maybe kind of go out on their own, do anything. What kind of advice do you have for freelancers based on your experience?
Yeah, so freelancing is interesting because there's everything to figure out, everything. And so you have to choose a route to do it. And I chose Upwork. And, you have to put out proposals. But like when you get on Upwork, there's all these people putting out job requests and you're like scanning through them. And when you're so brand new, like there's so much lingo in there that you just don't understand. So it's hard to really grasp what type of jobs you can really do well because there's just a ton of information you need to learn. And so what you need to do is just get in there and let yourself get familiar with the lingo. Look up everything that doesn't make sense to you. Watch a YouTube video, like research a little bit so you can start to understand it, because the more you understand what the needs are of the people in there looking for people like you, the better that you can find those, little jobs that are going to be perfect that you can dive into and you can use to learn and grow. And also just working on your mindset throughout the process. Like if you don't really feel like you're capable or like you have things holding you back, you have limiting beliefs that are really, really holding you back from maybe writing up that proposal for that job that looks perfect because you think like, oh, I'm not going to get it. There's so many people on here that are, you know what I mean? Like
some self-doubt that's kind of popping in. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to have a way to keep yourself motivated. For me, I had a coach at the time who was cheering me on as well, but you need to learn to cheer yourself on. You
Yes.
need to know that every opportunity you have to put a proposal in, whether it gets seen or not, you learn something from putting in that proposal that is going to help you do the next one a little bit better. And you just have to be consistent and not give up on the path that you've chosen, because it takes time.
Well, how were you still doing the freelancing piece once the coach had kind of stopped working with you, like when you were finished that 12-week program? Like, how
Yeah.
do you keep yourself accountable when you don't have someone holding you accountable?
Yeah, well, that's kind of where my coaching practice is kind of shaping up and going to be a little bit different, because I had a coach for 12 weeks straight, 1 hour sessions, 12, 12, 12, right? 12 weeks in a row. And when we stopped working together, I couldn't afford to hire him for another 12 weeks, but I wasn't ready to fly solo. I was so
Yes.
not ready. And so I'm trying to shape something a little differently so people have longer support. Um, Still with those 12 sessions. And so I hope that that's going to help people who, like me, needed someone in their corner for a bit longer as they were getting started out, right? But to keep myself going, I started to seek out, like, again, accountability. You have someone that you're accountable to, you're talking to, that maybe they're on a similar journey, right? And then you feel less alone in your journey. And I think that's a big part of it, is not feeling so alone, understanding that people are doing the same thing you're doing. They're struggling with the same things you're struggling with, but they're also continuing to show up, and it encourages you to continue to do the same. And so I think feeling less alone is a big part of the journey, seeking those people out.
Well, and I would argue that as a solopreneur or an entrepreneur or business owner, it can be very lonely. And
Yeah.
so when you are maybe trying to work on growing a business or starting a business or just trying to, get through some of the challenges of kind of having your own business, the more that you can talk with other people, the more that you can connect with others, the more that you will have that accountability, hopefully, and you're able to grow, share, and learn together. A lot of people are looking for accountability. They need accountability. Now, some people, though, don't know that they need accountability. How do you address that when people, think that they don't need accountability when they actually do? There's not self-awareness yet for it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's like anything. If it doesn't come from within, if you're not the person who realizes the need, nobody can do that for you. Like, you have to feel like you're in a place where you need that kind of help to really be open to receiving it. And that's where having a growth mindset comes into play, right?
Yeah.
If you understand the power of a growth mindset and you're constantly looking for that awareness, then you're in an awesome place because you're open, right? And if you're seeking those things out, there's no way you're not going to feel like having accountability is a good thing, especially if you've experienced it. So once you experience having accountability, there's no going back. Um, and one thing I will add also, about when you asked me the question about how did you do that after you weren't working with a coach, one of the things that really helped me was that I still had everything he had shared with me. It was so near and dear to my heart. Like, it had helped me make so many great shifts that it's like his voice was there even though he wasn't there. And so
Oh, okay. Yep.
I could still draw upon those sessions. I can look back at my notes. I can look back at the notes that he sent me after the sessions, and I could use that to continue to move forward. Even though I didn't have him officially with me every week, he was still there with me.
Yeah. And I think that's powerful, right? To be able to reflect on this investment that you've made in yourself and in your future. And also this person who's kind of been there and supporting you for 12 weeks and thinking, okay, I'm no longer working with them, but what would they tell me to do?
Exactly.
So that you can continually still benefit from what you've went through, and they're kind of still there, but obviously they're not there. I think that's
Yeah.
powerful to leverage that.
Yeah, absolutely. When you invested in something and it made a change, why wouldn't you want more of that? And if you can't have it technically, like, that doesn't hold you back from continuing to draw upon anything that came from it. And so, yeah, absolutely.
I think the
Leverage it.
thing that's really cool too sometimes, I don't know if you've experienced this before, but like where you have this connection with somebody who's working with you as a coach or a mentor, or they come into your business, and then you still maintain that relationship even though you're not paying them anymore, but there's still a way to stay in touch and to periodically check in. That's
Yeah,
pretty powerful when that happens too.
absolutely. And so, we definitely did that via the DMs on Instagram primarily. I remember when I made the decision to start writing. And I thought, well, what's one of the ways that I could practice that? We kind of had this conversation and we talked about Instagram. And at the time I wasn't on Instagram. I had actually been really avoiding it because I just didn't see any purpose in it. And so when I decided to go ahead and open it up and just do something really fresh and brand new, no idea what I was doing, just wanting to pay for some concepts. Right away, he was there to connect with me on Instagram. And I thought that was the craziest thing because I didn't think I was going to have access to him anywhere other than our coaching sessions. And they were via phone. So I wasn't even seeing his face. So by seeing his account, I could begin to see more of who he was and what he was doing on his own stuff, putting out his own content. And we were able to DM once in a while. And I just knew that just by having him there watching me on Instagram, it was helping me to level up and work even harder to put out great stuff because I knew that he was going to see it.
So it's an accountability thing too, I guess.
Yeah, it's like an accountability. Oh, he's watching. Like, oh my goodness, I want to make it really great. I want him to feel so proud. And so, but yeah, being able to connect on the DMs was really special. And I didn't take advantage of that. I was very respectful of the boundary that I wanted to maintain there of I'm just so grateful that he connected with me because I feel that support and I feel the accountability, but I'm not going to flood his DMs with a bunch of questions in between sessions, but he was always there. He always told me if you need anything, I'm here, reach out to me. And he made himself available. So
that's so cool. I have a similar relationship right now with my coach who I'm on, as you know, we've talked about, I'm focusing a lot on LinkedIn, right? And so going back and forth with my coach is wonderful. And we now go back and forth over text quite a bit and trying to figure out time that we can connect and see each other live and in person versus this virtual thing, which would be great too. But you mentioned a lot about DMs. I would love for you to share the importance of DMs as part of a strategy to connect, to grow, and why that is important to really leverage DMs. Because I'll admit this first before you even say anything. I think I've really underutilized the power of DMs, and I've learned the lesson, I think, the hard way, and I think I'm trying to embrace it now. But tell other listeners, people who need to hear it, what's the power of DMs?
Right. Well, I think, it's like this private little space for you to build a relationship, a connection. And, it goes further than just a surface level scrolling on Instagram, right? You get a chance to get to know one another. You get a chance to encourage one another in a different way. And depending on how you show up in the DMs, you're going to either interest people in who you are or not. And so if there's enough interest, then it leads to getting outside the DMs, which I like the phrase, getting beyond the DMs, right? And into the Zoom. I mean, you and I just Zoomed for the first time not that long ago. And it's very, very different to sit with someone for an hour on a Zoom and have this amazing conversation than the surface level connections and conversations that are happening online.
Totally.
And so I'm a big fan of what can happen online, but I'm an even bigger fan of what can happen offline. And so that's how you get into those amazing conversations, and you get to find those new people that you really need in your life. The whole concept of the 5 people you surround yourself with, right? I remember when I ran across that thinking I have really great people around me, but them being great doesn't mean that they're on a growth journey similar to me. So
right.
how can I find great people who are on a similar journey to me, who are even possibly further along than me, and even people that are not as far along as myself so that I can help them. And so how do I find those people that I most want to surround myself with? And again, getting into the DMs and trying to connect and trying to figure it all out. I was just very curious, how do I find these people? And so just exploring the possibilities and seeing it pay off in a sense, and seeing it lead to a great Zoom where I had an amazing conversation, and then I got to, then you get back online and you're supporting each other at a whole nother level. Now you know each other.
Yes.
Now you really know each other. Now you're not just I like this person on Instagram. No, I know this person. I've connected with them and I really, really like them. And so there's a deeper support and a deeper level of kind of watching each other. And that's where you find really amazing accountability partners as well, because then you can maybe see something they posted, or you can be posting something, which I've done, where I say, I'm looking for accountability in this, or I'll share a concept and go, hey, if you're struggling or if you need someone to keep you accountable, I'm here, like DM me and I will be happy to do that for you.
Yeah. It just opens up like obviously more opportunities. Like I think about how do we ever do anything before social media and the world that we live in, technology, right? Like it's
Yes.
hard to imagine it, how much the world has changed and the new tools and the new things that are out there. And something that's really come out over the last couple of years, and I know you're a big user of it, is Clubhouse. There was a time
Yes.
where it was talked about quite a bit. Hasn't been talked about as much, but it's still going and you're still very active on it. Can you talk to listeners about what you're doing on Clubhouse?
Yeah. So on Clubhouse, we have a room where we talk about personal and professional development concepts. So we bring in guest speakers. On occasion, I'll guest speak, or my partner in it will guest speak. And yeah, it's really amazing, because if you picture like a virtual stage and an audience, right? You have the people on stage. Let's say it's myself and a guest speaker, and we're having this incredible conversation, just like you and I are having a conversation now, right? And people are in the audience virtually listening to it. They have an opportunity to join us on stage and share a perspective that maybe came up when they were listening. Just like, oh, I have this thing I could share. Such a great example of that. They can do that. They can join us on stage. Or if they really love, let's say, the guest speaker, and they would love to just ask them a question that they're really curious about it, they don't have an answer for, they can jump on the virtual stage and ask that question. So they get to participate in the room, not just listen, but they can also just listen. So you get to choose what you want to do in the room, but it's a consistent room. It's there once a week. It's not really huge like some of the Clubhouse rooms you'll jump into, and it's some major influencer who's got like 600 or 1,000 people in the room, and you feel very much like very unseen. Whereas in our room, it's a very small and intimate group, so you feel very much seen. We
How do
always
people
welcome.
find the room? Like what's the room called, or how would they?
Yeah, so it's called Level Up Your Growth. Yeah, and it meets every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which going back, I want to say is like 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so, yeah, every Thursday and every week it's a different topic and it's a different person speaking. And again, it's small and intimate, which makes it easier for people to participate, because you might be a little shy. You
Yeah.
might feel like, oh, I'm not comfortable with speaking. Well, one of the easiest ways to practice speaking is on Clubhouse, because no one's seeing you. You can be
Right.
in your PJs at home on the couch and ask a super profound question that you get an amazing answer to, and all of a sudden it shifts your life. And so it's easy. Clubhouse is easy, and I think it's an amazing platform, and I wish more people were taking advantage of it.
I love the name too. When you talk about like leveling up your growth, I think that's something that people who actually anybody right now really needs to think about that, especially as we go through 2023 here in the crazy shifting world that we're living in. Like wherever
Yes.
we can level up and invest in ourselves, bet on ourselves. I use the phrase go all in a lot. I think the more that we're going to grow, and when we grow, we're going to push past the thing that's uncomfortable that might be holding us back and reach that next version of who we're meant to be.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And like I mentioned earlier, before I started this journey into really diving into personal development, I honestly felt like I had reached the limit of what I can be in regards to an awesome wife or an awesome mom or a really awesome employee, or, a really thoughtful sister, whatever it is I was working towards being the person that I felt like I should be. I really truly felt I had reached my limit. I did everything possible to be this person. And then a whole new world opened up to me when I started diving into personal development, that just showed me that you're never done. Like there is level upon level upon level. You can keep growing. You can keep being another level of awesome. You know what I mean? You can
Yeah.
keep being another level of anything that you feel that you want to be. You don't have to stop growing, and there's so much beauty, and there's so much more expansive experiences that you can run into if you are on that journey seeking out that growth in any area of your life, honestly. So
I imagine that as you went on this journey of professional development, that you not only benefited from like a career perspective, but in your own personal life, as you said, like as a wife and as a mother, people maybe started to see these subtle shifts in you as well. And that probably like impacted your entire world and just how you continue to grow elsewhere too, probably, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when I started working on these incredible concepts, like I had been married probably about 30 years at that point, which sounds crazy sometimes when I say it out loud, but our marriage wasn't in an awesome place. And that's not easy to admit, and it's not fun to be living in that. But, as it happens with a lot of couples, we were just kind of growing apart. And there was a little tension in the house because of our youngest, who's, you know, young adultish, ending her teen years, a little tension in the house between her and dad, and that was bringing tension between, him and I. And
Right.
I didn't know how to fix any of it. I didn't know how to fix any of it as much as I tried. Like I felt like it was out of my hands, and there wasn't peace and harmony in our home. And you know, diving into these concepts, you can really begin to shift what you feel is unshiftable because you begin to work on just the simple task of you.
Yeah.
You start to focus on you, and you don't focus on all the obstacles and everything that's out there that's not the way you want it to be. You realize that you have to change in order for other things to change, and it's going to be gradual. But you're committed because you want to see those changes, and you really can save a marriage. You really can bring peace and harmony into your home. You really can do so many of the things that seem impossible when you are working on yourself and different aspects of your life. You just make those small shifts to become that better version of you that shows up differently. You show up differently, and because you're doing that, everything else begins to shift just a little bit at a time.
Yeah,
And
there's like this
sometimes
ripple
sometimes
effect
a
that
lot.
kind of
Yeah,
happens almost, right? Where it's like this
absolutely.
the stone goes into the pond and you see the ripples and everything else starts to be impacted by it. It's
Yes.
amazing how many people I have talked to in definitely in the last number of years who have invested, whether it's joining a course, a mastermind coach, whatever it's going to be, and then how they've joined it because of a business need or a career need, but they say it's impacted my relationship so much. I'm a better husband, father, wife, whatever it's going to be, brother, sister. Like it helps them with their personal relationships by investing in their professional self.
Absolutely. And I mean, everything begins at home. Like you're home every day, right? Your family is everything to you. And if things aren't right in that respect, it affects, it's a ripple effect in a bad way, in a sense, out towards what you're working towards. You can't maybe have the best kind of energy going into working on that difficult task, or coming up with that amazing vision or whatever it is you're working towards. Like it impacts everything. And so your personal life is where it needs to start. That's where the focus needs to be, on your personal growth. But I believe that developing professionally also, investing in that, because I've done it, it gets you around the right people, with the right mindset, or it shows you that other people are struggling with similar things. And again, you feel less alone, but you're all working on stuff together. You get into the communities, you get into the coaching, the mentorships, and it really does shift the way your personal and professional life begins to unfold. So I absolutely am a
Wow.
fan of all of it.
That's like it's so powerful what you just said there. That I think
Yeah.
more people need to hear that. And I think that's the benefit also of sharing your message on something like this, that they can hear that from you. So I want to kind of obviously I can't believe how fast this is flying by when I look at the time. Like I want to make sure that people know like what how do they work with you? Like what how can they best connect with you? And
Yeah.
what's next for you throughout 2023? Like what else is happening? What's going on in your world? How can they work with you?
Right, where a lot is going on in my world because I'm constantly plugging in. Like I like to use the analogy of being off the bench and in the game. I just wrote
Oh,
a
love
post
it.
in one of the communities I was in. One of the communities I'm in, I just wrote a post. And I just wanted to figure out, because it's this awesome community, but there's these Zooms that happen and they're great. But like in between, in those gaps in between, a little's happening. But I'm like, how can we do more? How can we encourage one another? How can we get to know one another? And so I just decided I'm just going to put a post in there and just maybe this will help someone. And so it's this awesome visual I found It's like a side-by-side visual. And on one side, it's the, when you have those glass bottles with a little boat inside, right? And that's the comfort zone in the visual. And on the other side is this beautiful ocean with a little deck and a little boat ready to sail off. And that's the growth zone. And that visual really impacted me when I ran across it last year. And I thought, oh, I really love that. I want to share that. And so I came up with this whole post of how to share it. And there's a reason why I was sharing this story. I apologize. I lost the train of thought. But my point is, yes, it's because I was encouraging people after I shared what I shared of what I was bringing into this year and what I was leaving behind, which one of the things was this visual, which I'm going to look at and just kind of focus on visually myself, not limited in this tiny space that's the comfort zone, and not blocked from exiting, but outside of it and really free to explore what's out there and just free to just do anything I want, right? Not being held back. And so I was asking them to share their own experiences of maybe something they're bringing into the year or leaving behind. Because, when we share, we get to know one another. And it also, it's subconsciously, it's like when you contribute, you're subconsciously telling yourself, I'm in the game and off the bench. And you also get to lift people up.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I did this morning in one of the communities I'm a part of. I'm huge on contribution. I mean, we don't want to be givers. I mean, we don't want to be takers. We want to be givers, right?
Right.
But we also want to learn how to receive. And a lot of people have a hard time with that. Again, a personal development concept that to me, personal development is, if you're really in the game, you're just doing the inner work. You're working on shifting, not just learning. You're taking the learning and you're applying it. You're shifting your thoughts, your feelings, which are going to shift your actions, and they're going to take you from inaction to actual action. And if you have a coach like mine, he's going to encourage you to take bold action. And so if you're taking bold action, can you imagine a year of taking bold action where it's going to have you a year from now? If you're living
so much
life
further ahead, right? The more that
you're aiming for that.
Yeah.
You aim for it. You may not always hit the mark, but you're aiming for it. You're encouraging yourself. You're cheering yourself on like, I can do this. I've done it before. I can do it again. Again, awesome concepts I got from my coach. From the get-go of working with him, I just knew that my heart was going towards wanting to do what he did for me, for others.
And so that's part of the plan for this year then for yourself?
Yeah. So that's part of the plan. I'm finally at the point in my life where I really want to focus on that. I was doing the freelance work and the copywriting, and I loved it because I was trying to find entrepreneurs like yourself, Chris. I just really love the idea of working and supporting people who just had such a heart to impact other people's lives. And if I could do that with my writing, awesome. I love it. But at the heart of it all, the whole time where I've been writing, where I've been focused on, everything I've done has been focused on personal development. And that's where my heart really lies, where my passion really lies. And so I'm ready to now work with people one-on-one and be a part of their journey, help them discover so much about themselves, and so much about concepts that are out there that they may have never run across that can really make change and in their own lives, within their home, relationships, and in their businesses. And even for someone who doesn't have a business and developing the vision or having the confidence to speak out a vision that they might have, right? Having the courage to take those steps. And so there's a lot of aspects to growth. And it's my passion. It's what I do every day, all day long for myself. It's what I help other people do via my writing and via contribution into communities in different areas. And like the Clubhouse room, almost 2 years weekly, just kind of getting in there, just sharing things that will hopefully help others. And so, yeah.
And where can people find you? Like, what's the best way that they can connect with you, follow your content, or to kind of DM you or connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram for the most part. It's really where I love to be. I find that it's really easy to connect with people. I find that it's really easy to find everything you're looking for if you just seek it out, right? And so I love Instagram. My account is at letty.joy, letty.joy. And that's where I like to hang out. On my profile page, there's a link underneath my bio where you can click it and sign up for like 30 minutes to just kind of work together to see if we're a good fit.
Nice.
Don't tell anybody, but I'd probably go closer to an hour, on those sessions, just because I want to be able to really, get to know the person enough to hopefully be able to share something with them that's going to really help them walk away and have a different life in a better way. And so I'm really excited about that. So if anybody's interested, I'm there for that. And then, like I said, I'm developing a coaching program that gives support for longer time than most coaching programs. So I'm excited about that as well.
It's going to be an exciting year for you. I think 2023 is
Yeah.
going to be that, as they say, like that best year yet, because you're continuing to invest in yourself. You're continuing to grow. Your professional
Yes.
development is just really help open up your mindset. And there's a lot coming for you. Last question I have for you here. Of all the people that you've started to follow, you've started to meet, people that you start to, track their content in the personal, professional development space. If you could have dinner with one person and just like sit down for a few hours, have a great meal and talk and really, learn more about them, who would that person be? Who's the person that jumps out in your head and you're just like, I would love to be able to connect with this person and to learn more about their journey and pick up some great lessons over a nice meal? Who would that person be?
Well, there is one person that had a huge impact on me from the get-go, and I've already had the dinner. I carved out the time. I flew into Arizona, and I decided to just be bold and brave enough to request having this dinner with this person. And I had connected with him online a lot. I had given a lot of support for his content and just really shown up as much as I could as my best self in regards to just kind of showing him that I was on a growth journey and that his content was really impacting me. And I just had to go through a lot of that because at first it was a little uncomfortable. But I got to the point where I invited him to dinner and we got to have an amazing meal for, as you said, about 2 hours, an amazing chat. And he's my favorite podcaster and content creator. And I just really encourage you guys to.
And who is that person?
Find out those people. I mean, to anyone else, he may not be someone, but to me, he's awesome. His name's Matt Gottesman, and he has a podcast called Hustle Sold Separately,
Nice.
which I listen to a ton because entrepreneurs come on there and talk about their journeys. And like I said before, I had everything to learn. And his content's really great. I love his writing style. He's all about community. So I learned a lot about the power of the DM from him.
Nice.
And how he's always accessible and just really wants to be able to impact people in that moment, even though he's very busy and he's, entrepreneurial and all sorts of stuff. He always makes the time for his community. And so I learned a lot about the value and the importance of community and how to really make an impact online, watching him do the same. So,
well, what I love about what you just said there, Letty, is that you learn from someone else, but you're also giving back what you've learned. And that is so powerful. And it's just, I think that is something that we need to see more of in today's world. So I hope that listeners hearing this were taking notes. And if you didn't take notes, go back and write a bunch of stuff down that you heard, because this was unbelievable, the value that you've just dropped here this afternoon as we've been talking through this, Letty. Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you for being on the show.
Of course. It's honestly, I'm really honored that you asked, and it's just fun to have these conversations. And like I said earlier, to learn from one another.
Yeah, we absolutely do. So again, if you want to work with Letty, if you want to connect with her, you want to get in the DMs with Letty, Instagram is where you can definitely best connect with her. Letty.joy is her username. And again, thank you for being on the show today, Letty. And I really look forward to continuing to see and support you on your journey as you continue to move forward with this investment in your personal growth and development.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Chris Hanna Show. As always, the latest episodes are available to listen and subscribe to on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also follow The Chris Hanna Show on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Twitter. For more resources and solutions, including blog posts, toolkits, ebooks, speaking sessions, and more, visit chrishanna.ca today. We look forward to connecting again with you soon for another episode of The Chris Hanna Show.